Hi, Orange Girl here with another scrapbooking process video for you, and today I am working again with another day in my December daily, 2 days actually. This was a day that my grandsons came over, and I was trying to get a great picture of them in front of the tree in their jammies, and it was a fail. So that's what's gonna be on the left side, and on the right side is the next morning my mom came down. I have both stories already told and printed out. And my idea was I was going to, because I had a lot of photos here, I was going to go ahead and make a little pocket here and put all this stuff in it. I don't know, I'm just throwing stuff in right now to kind of show you. Um, and that way I can have all those extra photos in there. So I don't really know, but that's kind of how it's going to go. So let's get started making the pocket. So I ended up, instead of using what I had there, I decided kind of off camera that I was going to go ahead and create a pocket by folding some vellum. So I went ahead and cut this vellum at actually about 4.5 by 5. And then I'm scoring about like a quarter of an inch on 3 of the 4 sides. Then I'm just doing a little cut right here like this so it looks like that. And then I'll fold those onto themselves and glue them together like that. And that should work. And so by doing that, then I should have a pocket that is a little less than 5 inches tall and around 4.25 inches wide, which is what the size of my actual page is. So then I'm just putting a little glue around the edges and we have a little pocket there. Now eventually in a little while off camera I am going to sew all the way around, not the top obviously, but all the way around the whole page. So that will make it a little sturdier as well. So I have those photos and then an extra one of my grandson and the story. And I'm thinking that when I do the story, I'm going to attach them with a couple of other little things like this. Maybe not that photo, but some things. And so right now I'm just kind of going through the ephemera that's laying there on my desk. And I'm thinking I'm going to punch a hole in all of those and tie them together. And that will be what my story will go on. And I might put a few other things in. I did this photo that I have there on the left of the 3 of them. That's the best one that we ended up with. And I printed it in 2 sizes because I wasn't sure if I was going to want a little bit smaller one or if I wanted it the right size to fit the whole thing. So I kind of can't even remember what one I ended up. I think I ended up using the smaller one. Okay, so I decided to stop right there because I had not punched holes in these yet, and I wanted to make sure that I punched the holes in first so that I didn't overlap the holes and have to put a hole through a picture or words or something. So you saw the 2 photos there, and so now that I have that made, I'm going to kind of go back and forth between the 2 sides, but my main focus right now is going to be on day 15. So I'm trying to find some fun little ephemera that I could use to attach to the journaling, but I'm also trying to decide on maybe some ephemera to go with the picture that's going to be kind of my main picture of the layout, which is the one that's on the outside of the pocket. So sorry about that. I'm not realizing that the camera is doing that because the place where I hold my attacher, or my, not attacher, it's not my tiny attacher, my hole punch thing that I can't remember the name of. The place where I hold that is what the camera is attached to, so it makes it shake. So what I'm doing now is I've decided that I don't really want that tag to be white, and so I'm going to do something similar to what I did on a couple other days, and I wanted something that was that kind of teal, either like a blue or a green, kind of like the word joy. And so I went ahead and I found that in a 6x6 pad. I believe that was from last year's crate paper collection, I think called Fa La La. And I think these papers and a lot of the ephemera that I'm using is from that as well. I have both last year's and this year's on my desk, so now they're all kind of mixed together, so I don't really know what belongs with what. But I really like that a lot better. I like the color instead of just the plain white tag. That's my coffee. I did this in the morning, so I was still drinking coffee in my sloth mug. There you go. All right, so I just took some pink and white twine and I tied those together, and then that will be done. My journaling is done and that pocket area is done, and now I just need to get busy on the outside. So I'll go ahead and read my journaling to kind of give you an idea of what that says. It says, "We were lucky enough to have the boys for an overnight this weekend. Holly Ann was out celebrating Bree's 30th birthday. I bought the boys superhero PJs and tried my best to get a real photo of the three kids together in front of the tree. It was pretty hilarious. In the end, Charlie was able to Photoshop a few together to get something that worked." So, maybe if I do end up doing a walkthrough of this whole album when I'm finished. Right there, I just found a wreath that already had a hole in it when I had to punch a hole in the other one that is with the tag there. But anyway, if I do end up doing a walkthrough, maybe I can show you those a little bit closer, those photos, because they're pretty funny. All right, so now we're back to those big numbers. Those numbers are really big. I really like it, and every single layout I've done so far, I've used them. And if you've been following along with my YouTube videos, you'll know that especially since we got into 2 digits, I've kind of struggled with putting them on the page. When you're working in a traveler's notebook size, it, there's not a lot of real estate there. And so you don't have a lot of room to take care of those, to place those numbers somewhere. And I feel like I can't change the numbers that I'm using because I've been using them the whole time. But, ultimately, if someone else said that, I would say to them, yeah, but it's your album. You can do what you want. So it is my album, and maybe I'll end up changing them by the time I get to 25. But at this point, so far, every time by the time I figured out what I'm going to do with them, by the end, I've liked it. So far I haven't had to change to smaller numbers. So including this one, I really like what I ended up doing to solve that problem. All right, I'm going to mess around with the numbers for a little bit longer, and they don't end up this way at all. The right side is going to be a little bit easier because the right side is a single picture. And so I have a little bit more room over there. I was thinking that I would probably take my journaling and make it strips. At this point, I'm wondering if I can make the 15 and the 16 go off the page a little bit. And I kind of toyed with that with some others that I've done so far, but I haven't done it yet. I probably will at some point because I do kind of like the idea of it, but I just haven't yet. So now I'm looking for some papers because I'm fed up with the numbers. I'm looking for some papers that I can layer behind that photo. That was really hard for me to figure out that I needed to just switch over to the other side to cut it. So funny. Okay, so I have this is from that same 6x6 paper pad, and it has the pink in it, but also has that kind of teal, kind of green color in it of the joy. So I like adding that little pop of color there. And then I ended up putting something else behind that, I feel like, but I can't remember at this point what it was. Oh, I think it's already there, actually. You just can't see it. There is a green card underneath it as well. So as usual, same stuff, different day. I am adding some tissue paper behind my photo. I'm having a struggle with it. Clearly, I haven't had enough coffee yet when I was doing this. It's really not that hard to put tissue paper on the photo, but oh well. Anyway, so at this point, I'm going to just kind of put these numbers aside because I'm just going to worry about the design of the page, and I'll figure something out with those later. All right, so I walked away, and then I came back, and I decided that I would put them on a circle. So I needed a 2.5-inch circle. I don't have a 2.5-inch circle. So I'm using that same paper, the same two papers that I used. This one was the one for the tag, and then that bird one was a layer behind the photo. And I'm using this We Are Memory Keepers, like from the 90s, I'm going to guess. It has these 3 blades, and there are different size circles, and each blade cuts a different size as well. There are 3 different templates of circles, different sizes, and then each of those do like 3 or 4 different sizes as well. So it's kind of a handy little thing. It's saved my rear end a few times when I've needed a size that I didn't have a circle punch in. So now I'm thinking I'm going to put the 15 and the 16 on there, but as I was working with it, I got fed up again, and so I'm putting it aside. It does end up working, trust me. The reason I showed myself cutting out those circles is because I've used that circle punch, or whatever you want to call it. I can't remember what they call it, before, and somebody asked about it. So that's how you do it. It just has a blade, and you have to figure out which color of blade you use. There's 3 different colors. So anyway, so as usual, since I'm frustrated with that, I'm going to move on to something else and not waste the time. And honestly, I'm not wasting time, because right now I'm thinking about the problem as I am cutting this out, because it's pretty mindless. And that's just, I find mindless things to do, like putting tissue paper behind a photo or cutting something like this, so that I can continue to think about what I'm going to do with that circle in this case, and try to solve that problem. So all right, so and then I saw, this was just sitting out on my desk. It says family is forever, which I thought was a really great, not Christmas, anytime kind of sentiment that would work really well with this. And it adds a pop of black. There's a lot of black in the photos. I used that little banner over on the left side that says Happy Holidays, and it's black, and so I thought I needed a little touch of black. So that circle has 15 on it on one side, 16 on the other side, and I'm going to embellish a little bit, and then I'm going to add, maybe I have already punched a hole in it, I can't remember, but I'm going to punch a hole in the top. Yeah, I've already punched a hole in the top, and that is going to go on the rings in the book, in between day 15 and 16. So you'll see, I'll kind of hold it up there in just a second. So I found on the chipboard, I found hearts of the opposite color of the background paper, kind of. So pink on this side, and then kind of that joy, the color of joy on the other side. So I'm going to set that aside for a little bit and do some more, while the glue is drying, and do a little bit more embellishing on the left side. So I've decided that I'm ready to glue this stuff down now that I know I've gotten that 15 and 16 taken care of. But it still looks a little too plain for me, so I'm going to go back to the chipboard, and I'm trying to find maybe a phrase or a banner or something that I can put underneath or above the picture. And I do end up finding one that says Christmas Magic, which is kind of funny because this was not a magical moment. But that was not lost on me when I picked that. I thought, I'm trying to get I don't really send Christmas cards, but I'm trying to get a Christmas card worthy photo of my 2 grandsons and my youngest daughter together. And it was not magical. There may have been some crying, not by the adults, thank goodness, but there may have been some crying. Nothing too bad, but my little hunter did not want his picture taken and did not want to be held. Would have really rather, so we ended up getting out the Batman car because they're in superhero pajamas. I bought them all superhero pajamas. Ended up getting out the Batman car, and he played with that a little bit. That helped a little. So I reached back in my stash, and I found this printable that was a Hit Kit exclusive from last year's December hit kit, or maybe it was a Christmas hit kit. I'm not really sure. And it says magical memory on it, which this is kind of a magical memory, right? But it's still too, I don't know. I like it there because I like the pop of green over there, but it's just not really working. It's still too empty. Like there needs to be more there or something, I'm thinking at this point. So I'm searching my desk to try to find maybe some washi that I can put down or something, but I was not having any of what I found. So um, I decide, I think, to table it for a little bit and work on the other side. Also, I'm gonna do some stitching here in a second. I'm not really sure when I end up doing that, but I think it's here. Yeah, so I'm gonna do some stitching. So I'm gonna go ahead before I do that, because I know I want to stitch around the word joy. I'm gonna go ahead and glue some stuff down over on the right side, I think. Right now I'm just like not knowing what to do apparently. Can't find my glue, would be my guess. Oh, I'm still thinking about the top over there. That was it. And I was going to put some paper there, but then I end up finding this. It's just a label. And I thought, oh, it's a label sticker. And I thought, oh, I could just put that underneath it. Just give it a little home. And I like it, but I ended up changing it because I found this. It says joy, and it's very similar, then to the other side. I'm always trying to tie the two sides together. It has that pop of green, but there are too many flags in that area. Like I don't like the three banners together. And so I end up putting it back, but it does remake an appearance, and it makes the final layout. I'll show you that here in a moment. So I'm not sure why I haven't given up yet, but in a second here, I'm going to give up, and I'm going to go off camera. It's now. Okay. So I've decided I'm going to glue everything down on this side because I am going to do some stitching. So I know I want to do that, and I'm kind of fed up with embellishing the left side because nothing's really working. And one of the reasons that I move on to something simple like this is because, yes, I might be thinking about it, but also sometimes something just happens that's a happy accident that ends up working out. So as I was doing this, I was like, well, actually, magical memory, this picture of my mom and the kids is actually better for that. And then I could put this special delivery, maybe, over on the other side. I don't end up doing that. But so off camera, I'm going to take a drink of my coffee. And then I went ahead and I stitched all the way around the left side. And then I stitched around the card that says joy. And I realized then that since I didn't have all the extra banners, I could put that little joy sticker over there. So that's what I ended up doing. And I like that a lot better. So I was just showing you there, but it was way too fast, that I stitched around the word joy, or not the word, but the card. And then I stitched through magical memory that's over there as well. And so now I want this photo to be a little bit off center because I'm going to add, everything else is kind of centered, and I'm going to add that little tree. So I want the photo to be over a little bit further. So that's what I'm going to do. And I like using this little tree because the paper over on the left has little trees all over it. And then always have to have some tangle thread. So I added tangle thread behind the banner over on the left, and now I'm adding tangle thread behind this photo. It'll go right behind that family is forever button from a Flair for Buttons, of course. And I really am liking the way this is coming together now. So this is from Colorcast Designs. It is, I have a bucket right there on my desk that has a whole bunch of stars in it, different colors, and that matched perfectly. And then I was like, oh wait, I knew I wanted, when I picked that tree out, I wanted to add some enamel dots to it because I thought that would be kind of cute. And I really like the way that turned out too. So I ended up putting a couple of the kind of teal aqua color on, like 3 of those I think, and a couple of the pink color, kind of fuchsia pink color. And then I also, when I was looking in my enamel dots, found these little hearts that are the same colors, and I thought those would look cute on there. So I add 5 or 6 of those, and then I think I'm pretty much finished with the layout. And I love the way this one turned out. This is probably, it's not my most favorite, maybe. I don't know. I can't pick favorites, right? But it is one of my most favorites so far in this series. And I hope that you have enjoyed my series so far. I'm going to continue. I have quite a few days left, and I'm trying to do 2 a day. But that won't meet my goal, I don't think. We do have some friends coming into town that are like family the next few days, and so I will take a time out from this to do some family and friend time with them and bring in the new year. And so my guess is I'm not going to make the goal of completing this before the 1st of January, but I will continue. I have a couple things up my sleeve that might take a little bit longer. But here is the final. That's a look at what that looks like outside then. And then this is the other side, and the whole thing is coming up here pretty soon. So I have a couple things up my sleeve, some fun things coming up in my December daily. So I will see you in my next video.